so tashi delek. So today I am going to share topics on wisdom and compassion in our daily lives. So, and it is a huge topic. We can spend whole our life just learning about how to generate wisdom and how to generate compassion. And mainly these two things, wisdom and compassion, is the base of most of the spiritual tradition. And it is also the two main key of spiritual practice, I think. And so I will just share a little bit on that. And as usual, I give this kind of talk, a title, a tidbits from Tibet on wisdom and love, or wisdom and compassion. So one thing in Tibet, we have an image of the wisdom and compassion. And as you know, that like in Tibet, we consider ourselves to be the land of compassion Buddha. And that is why when you look at the Tibetan history, and most of the Tibetan kings or the leaders, we consider them to be the emanation of compassion Buddha. And the very popular image in Tibet and very popular mantra in Tibet is also the compassion Buddha image and compassion Buddha mantra. And like when I say compassion Buddha, like we have one compassion Buddha image which has, like we call it, 1,000 arms Chenresi. And Chenresi is the name for the compassion Buddha. And it has a total white color body, and then 1,000 arms, and then 1,000 eyes. And that is the image of the, Chenresi, 1,000 arms Chenresi. And we consider, especially at this present age, like His Holiness the Dalai Lama as the emanation of Chenresi. And we always look at him as the Chenresi in the form of human being, and who embody the compassion. So in this image of the 1,000 arm Chenresi, basically the hand signifies the caring, compassion. Hand signifies the compassion. And the eyes signifies wisdom. So when we generate a sense of strong compassion, what we generating? We generate caring, a strong sense of caring. And when we say about what is compassion, compassion is actually, Tibetan Buddhists doesn't look different, compassion and love, as not as a different. It is just a two sides of one coin. Like when you generate a sense of great compassion, you automatically generating a sense of love also. So compassion, I don't know, it is really getting the exact meaning what we really talking in Tibetan Buddhism. So I want to share like what in Tibetan language what we use for the compassion. In Tibetan, we use nyingje. Sometimes they use tukje. So what is nyingje? So if I explain, Ying. Ying means heart, actually. Ying means heart. Tuk means a formal way of saying for the heart. Like in Tibetan language is sometimes interesting. It is like we have a formal language and then informal language. And general speaking, Ying Je. Ying means heart. Je means the king or the, main, the essence. So from that point of view, Ying Je means the essence of heart. So compassion is generating. When we generate a compassion, we generate that in our deep heart. In other words, I always prefer to use the word opening heart. Like when we open our heart, what we are really generating is we are generating a sense of compassion. And the definition of compassion, what I understand from the West, is many people interpret compassion as sort of like there is a lot of suffering going on in the world. And you are there feeling compassion, means you have to go through a suffering. Like you are going to take it. You take that suffering. And if they are suffering, I should be suffer. So it is almost like I can take the suffering of others. But from the Buddhist point of view, we interpret compassion not as that. Compassion is more sort of like just generating a caring. So that is why when you look at the Buddha, and Buddha is the compassionate being, and the world is suffering, but he is not sad, he is not suffering, he is not, he is there peacefully looking at the all sentient being with the compassionate eyes. And sometimes it is very difficult to understand by the people, like how come? Like if Buddha is a compassionate being, then the whole world is suffering, and how come he can just sit serenely, like looking at them peacefully, and how come that is a compassionate being? But the concept of the compassion is just a caring. Like same thing, love is a caring. When you generate a sense of love, what are you generating? You are generating a caring. And when we generate a love, we generate caring. But what happens when we generate a love in our daily lives? When we generate a love, we generate a lot of worry, anxiety. We generate like as soon as we care about somebody, how do you feel about that person? As soon as you care about somebody, you worried about that person. And how come? Why it is like that? Why, when we care about somebody, why we have to worry about that person? And when we look at the thing, and actually, like a Buddhist kind of like and we analyze what we say is, if you're worrying about that person, then where does this worry come from? Worry comes from fear, right? Worry based on fear. Fear is the cause of the worry. When you have a sense of fear, what do you feel? You feel worry. And when you have a sense of love, what do you fear? What do you feel? You feel caring, right? But our love is mixed with the fear. That is why our caring is mixed with the worrying. So that is why, like, to really understand, totally understand what is compassion, we have to understand the difference between worry and caring. Like, actually, worry is totally opposite of caring. Caring is opposite from worry. But when we feel it, it comes same. So that is why when we generate compassion to somebody, like the person who is going through a lot of suffering, and we look at that person, and you generate a sense of caring towards that person, and caring attitude doesn't come that much because worry overpowered that caring. And we have to go through such a tremendous painful feeling and that is why sometimes we kind of run away from the compassion. And we think that that is the problem of compassion. We think that that is the problem of caring. And sometimes we afraid. We afraid that, oh, I don't want to care about somebody. I don't want many people to care. Because as many people I care, that much my worry grows. And that much I don't want to worry about anybody. And that is why we run away, and just kind of from our deep heart, we wanted to be care, but then we don't want to, because as soon as we care about somebody, we just, instead of feeling good, we feel bad. So that is why when we are generating a compassion, so you will understand, and I don't know how to define compassion. Like a compassion is a feeling. It's a care feeling. And in some point of our life, actually, we have this genuine sense of caring towards somebody. We have that. We experience that in some moment in our life. When we generate that sense of genuine caring, we liked it. we liked it, and it feels good. It makes us sort of like feels good. As soon as we feels good, what happens is our attachment goes there. And saying that, I want to keep it. I want to keep it. I feel really good. I want to keep it. And then what happens is we think that, oh, when I care about somebody, I really feel good. And maybe that is coming from that person. And we kind of totally making sort of like, oh, that person is making me feel good. And our attachment goes to that person. And also, sometimes when we don't like that person, then our attachment goes to our own feeling. So that is why, like, if we are really trying to generate a genuine compassion, then try to see when you are caring about somebody, like try to look at it, your own feeling. See what is the caring part and what is the worrying part. And if, there is a thin line that you can put. It is just very thin line. You just kind of thin line. And also in our daily life, for example, like we have a people who we love. We have a people who we feel compassion. We have a people who we care. And do you have anybody who you really care and you don't worry about that person? Difficult, right? If we count it, like, just kind of think about it, like, no. If whoever you care about that person, we worry about that person. So that is why compassion is not really feeling the suffering of that person. It is just caring towards that person. And that is why, like, when Buddha, such a compassionate being, and sits peacefully without any unhappy feeling, but has a great compassion. So to generate that sense of great compassion, what do we need? Then it comes, the Tibetan Buddhist practice says, you cannot just open your heart without opening your mind. So to open that mind, then we call the wisdom. Wisdom is an opening of our mind. Wisdom is an opening of, like, making our mind broader, like a broad mind. Like not just looking at the things, like not just letting yourself stuck in the situation. Like when you look at the situation, good situation, bad situation, neutral situation, happens in our life. And the situation that is arising in our life, how can we be open-minded is we have an ability to just witness, but we don't do that. instead of witnessing the things, what we do is we jump into it. We jump and dive into that situation. And then, it is so tiring. Like you jump into that situation, then you get out of that situation, and then you find another situation, you go into that situation, and that is mainly sort of like not really opening our mind. So opening our mind meaning sort of like just witnessing. Witnessing, don't letting the situation to, trap you. The situations are very interesting, like the circumstances in our life. Many things happen. What happens is it just kind of like you have this situation, and what you do is you put your whole self into that situation. And when you put your whole self into that situation, what do you see? You don't see any other than that situation. And you have many other things, but we don't see it. For example, when we are sad or when we are depressed. Say when we are depressed, and there is a depressing situation. And we are in that depressing situation, what do? How do we communicate with ourselves at that time? We communicate with ourselves by saying, I am completely depressed. Right? That's what we say. I am completely depressed. So there's a little bit of exaggeration, no? You are not totally or completely depressed. You are not totally. There's part of you is depressed. But when part of you is depressed, but you put totally essence of yourself and total, complete essence of yourself into that situation. And then, it will make us feel much more stronger depression. So that is the result of not opening the heart and opening the mind, not having wisdom. So if you are generating a wisdom on that situation, is just kind of you able to say, okay, this is just a part of me. Part of me is depressed, but my life is not totally bad. I have some other thing that I look forward and I feel good about. That is kind of like opening our, we call it opening mind. So that is why to open our heart, what do we need? Is we need to open our mind. So if we don't open our mind, then if we just open our heart, we will definitely feel bad. It will definitely feel bad. And then if we open our head or our mind, then if we close our heart, then also we will totally feel bad. So the balance is to open our heart and open our mind both. So that is the point of generating wisdom and compassion in our daily life. So the compassion and the wisdom, they are really kind of connected. The metaphor in Indian scholar, they use the metaphor is, they said that like a swan have two wings, right? And the swan wanted to fly from this to that island. So, and they have to make their two wings strong. Without having these two wings strong, even though you have one strong wing and the other wing is just broken or not a strong one, then it's not going to fly. So to make this bird fly from this samsaric land to overcross that river or the ocean of samsara, that we need the two wings, which is, they use the metaphor of wisdom and compassion. So wisdom and compassion is just kind of basically like a wing that we need to. And it is not just also only in a spiritual practice, I think. It is in our daily life, just day-to-day life, right? Day-to-day life, to be able to live happily. What do we need? We need to open our mind and open our heart. If we are not opening our heart, what happens is we don't feel connected with the people. And when we don't feel connected with the people, then that's a terrible feeling. And when we close our mind, then what happens is we become totally narrow-minded. And if we become totally narrow-minded, will we be happy? No, I don't see any happy people who is totally narrow-minded. To be happy, what do you need? It is really not talking just only from a spiritual sense. It is also from just a common sense. As like we say, wisdom and compassion, but these are the two main tools to be happy in our daily life. So that is why wisdom and compassion is very, important. But I don't have to say that, right? You all know how important it is. So by talking about this, and I just wanted to give you some spiritual tips how to generate that, how to bring that sort of wisdom and compassion in our daily life. Is mainly I always it is so simple. It is just as simple. We just have to make some sort of really a consistent sort of practice, and it is not something new, and it is not something very special, and it is not something very difficult to do, and just kind of start our day and conclude our day with some positive thoughts and some loving attitude. By mainly when you start your day, it is kind of just appreciate that I am alive today. It's just you're not just gone in your sleep. You're awake, and here's another new day. I heard this song in the radio. It's another day in paradise. Right? I thought that was a very nice word. Another day in paradise. And you just have to, in our daily life, when you open your eyes in the morning, just kind of paradise, when we're looking at the paradise is just here. It is not, you're not just kind of, we don't have to wait to get to paradise to die. Paradise is not beyond the death. It is just here in this life. So if you wake up and you are breathing still, and that is a paradise. It is, if you cannot breathe, and then that is hell, right? It is like you just put yourself into the water just for 40 seconds, and you totally feel the feeling of hell there. So there's nothing to worry about hell and things after death, and mainly just kind of day to day appreciation. And when you appreciate, you start your day with the appreciation, and I think that is the basic. That is the first step that you're taking to be a compassionate and open-minded person. So when you first wake up, appreciate your life, and then you might be thinking, I'm going through such a trouble. You don't understand. Sometimes people say, it is easy for you to say, you are just a monk, you don't worry that much. You don't know what is going in my life. I have this, I have that, I have to take care of this, I have to take, just the minute I wake up, I think about this and that. And just kind of as a human being, I have also a problem. So, it is, sometimes it is difficult, but just to be starting, just kind of if we think it, just open our mind a little bit, then there will be appreciation. And it is just kind of starting our day with the appreciation and just a little bit of prayer. Actually, it helps. And that helps in my life. It helps in my life, and I always give this advice to people. And it is not about, I'm not telling people you should become Buddhist. It is not about becoming Buddhist or any religious thing. My kind of sharing, I always share to people, do you really want to be happy? Our answer is yes, right? Of course I wanted to be happy. Then, can you just generate some inspiration to yourself? Like the day, like minute you wake up, just pray. Just pray, say that, I am here to bring more happiness into this world and into my life. I'm not here to make a troublemaking thing, right? I'm not here in this world to make more trouble to myself or other people's. I'm here. Why I'm here? And my purpose or my responsibility is to bring some little bit harmony in my mind, in my heart, in my life, and in my family, in my community, in this, my universe, right? We are here to bring that harmony. So just kind of reminding that is a great, way to, to be spiritual, to be opening our heart and opening our mind. So what thing that I usually do is, when I wake up, I just kind of pray. Just remembering that my purpose is to bring more happiness into my life. So I pray. I don't pray to Buddha, or I don't pray to God, or I don't pray to Jesus, or, I don't pray to some like a, special being. What I pray is usually I pray, I say that, may I bring more happiness into my life and other people's life and people around me. May I bring, because that is, I can do, right? I can do. And at least just kind of pray that today, may I not bring trouble into my life and other people's life. Just simple. If that is just as simple, and that is, if we remind ourselves, like to be happy, to be happy is our purpose, right? And we are searching for happiness, and nobody denies that. Everybody wanted to be happy, and what is there wrong? Nothing wrong, right? Nothing wrong to pray that may I be happy and bring happiness to the people who I love, people who I care. And it is not really, it's some sort of like, religious kind of, thing. It is just a fact. It is just a true thing. It is like something, you don't change your identity, you don't change your lifestyle, you don't change anything. Yeah, just kind of you, wherever you are, and it doesn't conflict, I don't think, right? It doesn't conflict with any belief system. Any belief system that you have. So just simply kind of like, like as the minute you wake up, just kind of a great appreciation for your life. I appreciate that I'm alive, and why should I worry that I'm going to die tomorrow or not? But I am alive today, I'm alive today, so I appreciate that I am just breathing right now, how beautiful it is, like, and take it just a deep 1 or 2 breath, just to enjoy, like, see how beautiful that breathing is, just like, and who knows, I'm going to have that chance again or not, but right now I have this chance to breathe, to able to, to be here. So just kind of take a deep breath and then appreciate that you are breathing, and then pray that may I bring more happiness into my life and other people's life. Simple. And but it is sort of like, it's very simple, but what happened is we have a problem with the forgetfulness. Just very lazy to do that part either. Just like, I don't feel like doing it today. Just like you just wake up, I have to rush, like just kind of like it is just kind of, if we make that sort of like simply, it doesn't take long. Even, if you kind of do it, just kind of, it is a 2 or 3 second thing, just take a breath and then pray. Just maybe it is like how long it takes? 4 seconds. And it doesn't take that much, just kind of, but what happens is we just forget. And then just too lazy to just spend 4 seconds for our spiritual thoughts or for our own benefits. And then, just kind of we complain. Then we complain later that I'm not happy. And how can we be happy? Just even we don't just spend a few seconds for our own, praying. And then we complain that you don't care about me. Like we complain that you don't care about me, and just kind of you don't wish me happy. Like we complain other people, right? And then when we fight with the others, argument, you don't care about me. You don't even wish happiness to me. Like we kind of blame them, but really we don't do that ourselves. We don't wish ourselves happy. So if you really want other people to wish you, here you are. You can wish yourself. Just wish it. And that kind of wish is very powerful. It is just simple. It is so simple that sometimes people don't want to do it. It is like, it is just like and that helps me, which just you don't even have to make it sort of like a, don't make it sort of like a responsibility. It is not a responsibility. It is something joyful. It is something enjoying thing. It is just kind of like, so just kind of like, if we keep doing that, and I kind of always give that advice to people, so, that is the key actually, and that helps me to be more compassionate, to be more caring, and not to, not to be too, depressed in my whole day. And when we don't, most of the time when we look at our life, what we do is our mind is sometimes very tricky. Our mind has a very strong tendency to search for something to complain. It doesn't have a tendency to appreciate. Our mind doesn't have a tendency to appreciate. Our mind has a tendency to complain. And we spend an awful lot of time. You just kind of look at ourselves. I'm not talking from your point. I don't experience what you feel, but I'm talking from what I feel, right? So how many times we spend time just looking for where to complain? What is wrong? Something wrong. Oh, there is something wrong. That is not good. And the minute we wake up, actually, we put some words in our mind, like some negative thoughts already, like just I'm bad, or I'm too busy, or just sort of like my life is bad. Sort of like that kind of, word that we put in our mind. And we make our mind garbage, full of garbage with those things. So, for example, I use that kind of now this is a internet, computer age, right? People, for example, it is just even the computer understand that, right? You look at the search engine and you put the word, bad thing, anything, just search it, and then how many things that is related to that topics comes. And that is, our mind is a little bit like that. When you put one word, and it will search throughout our system. And it brings up this, millions of websites related to that word. And it's just like that, in that, system, we put all this website not from this life, from many, many lifetime. It is there. You search it, you will find a lot of interesting stuff there. But then we put something good word, and few website related comes. You just put a happiness in that word, and then it is 5 of them. Oh, these are the topic that is related, and then we just we get bored. Like, this much? No, I don't want to, search for this word, because maybe this is the word that maybe people are not interested. Maybe they didn't put, all my life. They are not really interested in those things. That is why there is nothing which is related to that one. So we want to browse in our mind, but there's not that much to browse. And we feel bored. We feel tired. Like, this is not interesting. And then we put something bad, put all this totally things comes up. And then it is so interesting. You just go from one website to another. And there's a lot of pop-up message too. That is how our mind is. Just mind is like totally, that is why, like in our, like when we first wake up, just put that sort of word, even though there is not that much many interesting, just put the word happiness, and it will give some like, just word like love, happiness, compassion, caring, and just to remind yourself. So, and that is just very, very effective. It is just simple. And sometimes we don't want simple thing. We want a profound. And something profound that you don't understand, and we like it. And then it is something like, there's like, you just say like, oh, this is so risky, like, then we like it. And it is just like, we like a simple thing is just like we are in it, but we are not really looking. We don't know that we are in it. Like, the truth is just so right in front of you. The happiness or the good thing is just right in front of you, and we just pass it. Every time we walk into our life, we just pass it. And then we are looking for far something. Oh, it must be there, it must be there. And then, like, we keep looking for that one, and then we waste all our life not finding it. How can we find? The fish is just living in the water and looking for a water outside the, outside the ocean. So that is why, like, just like we are in here and appreciate whatever you have. Like, appreciate what we have, which is sort of like another tendency of our mind, is that mind is very busy looking for something you don't have. And that is another trick. And that is what, like, for example, in the business world, like, you look in the media and you look in the magazine and all these things, what they show you, what they makes you feel like. They makes you feel like you don't have that. So what happens if you don't have that? If it makes you feel like what you don't have, then what happens? It creates that desire, that greed. I want that, I want that. And then, like, just like we never appreciate. And always, like, if as much as you have, that much you want more. Sort of like in life. And people just sort of like, when you look at, for example, just looking at general American, people, you just look at yourself, how your lifestyle is. And then you look at outside, you look outside the country and some third world countries. Like, how people living there. And really like when you complain about your life, actually there's not that much a big complaint, a big issue. It is like not really a big problem if you compare to some of the people who are starving to death. Right now, at this minute we are talking, maybe some people are starving. And people here, we have so much that we don't want to appreciate it. And then just looking, and then like here, people have so much, and then you ask those people, what do you have? And then they go around in life and saying, I don't have anything. I don't have anything. I'm the most miserable person. I'm this, I'm that. And really, just kind of, we don't look, and we kind of like, our mind look for what we don't have. And when you look for what you don't have anything. Really, what do you like, just kind of, you look around, and like your mind is just like totally there. And like when you have this, like say like you got this house, and then you look at the outside and there's a better house than that. And then thinking that I don't have a house. Even you have a house, but you don't have a house. What do you mean is I don't have a house like that. But if our mind doesn't make clear to ourselves. So then it is like our mind tendency to look for what we don't have. So that is why, like how we appreciate in our life is just always remember what you have. Like what things that you have. Like what positive things that you have. And always remember, and by appreciating that, and then wish something good for yourself. Like taking care of ourselves is, there's nothing wrong. And when we wish ourselves to be more happy and bringing more happiness to other people, and that is the main, tools to bring more happiness into our life, or to bring more compassion, to bring more, wisdom, and that is just a simple. So that is just my small tips. So it is in your hand if you want to do it, just, and maybe just worthwhile to try it. So, and it is not a time consuming, and it is not, very difficult to do either, right? And so that is just my thoughts and tidbits from Tibet on wisdom and compassion in daily life. Okay, so thank you. So we have some time if you want to ask me some question.
How do you guys celebrate birthdays?
It's your birthday, huh? Birthday, Tibetan actually, like for example, myself, people celebrate by doing a long life prayer, and sometime like we ask some priests to come in our house, and we ask them to do the prayers, and sometime just kind of we go to the monastery and pray for ourselves, like just go there and pray that may my life be happy and successful. So, and that's mainly, and just kind of most of people really, I will say general Tibetan people, if you ask their birthday, they don't remember. Like it is not, they don't make a big deal about it. Most of the Tibetan, because we don't count our age with the birthday. How do we count our age is every new year, like a Tibetan lunar new year, the first day, and we count that as 1 year. So that is why actually we count from the minute you are in your mother's womb. And that is why when you are born, you are already one. So, like if you are born, like say, for example, sometimes people, they are old, like they become old, older. Like if you are born at the end of the year, and actually when the new year come, and they consider you to be like 3 years or something. So Tibetan actually count that, so that is why sometimes when you ask the Tibetan, what is your birthday, and they will say, I don't know, but Tibetan, the first day is considered to be my counting year. So, and also they don't put the record. Maybe that's why they don't remember. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you do astrology?
Tibetan has astrology. Actually, Tibet, like there is a big institute in Dharamsala, like in
How do you do that if you don't know where you are?
So now it is a very good question. Basically, they don't really do that much astrology of this birth. The most of the astrology that they do is they make a really big deal about the time of death. And usually that astrology, the time you die, the day you die, the time you die, and then you bring that time and day, and then you go to the astrologer, and then they will tell you where this person is going to be born and what needs to be done, things like that. Like and like if you can have still an astrology without knowing the date, because most of the astrology that they do is by the year. Like if you are born in the year of monkey, then yeah, it is kind of like a Chinese, but Tibetan has a same like a Chinese kind of 12 animals year. Yeah, Hindu astrology is very much like a very predestiny, sort of like you are totally destined. What is going to happen in your life, and so kind of like a Tibetan has an astrology which is not totally like a Western, not totally like a Vedic, but in between. And it is also not very predestined. It is like it can change. Like, and most of the time it will say, maybe you will become that if you do this. You will become that if you do that. So there's always an option. Yeah. But like there is astrology, but astrology is not that much popular for the people. Like we don't. I haven't. For example, I never read my astrology chart in Tibetan, so, but I had some Vedic and Western astrology, but not in Tibetan though. So that shows a lot, huh? Yeah.
In the Eastern view, there's reincarnation, and in the Western Christian, I guess Judeo-Christian, there's one life.
Uh-huh.
Is there a way of seeing both of them so there's no contradiction? Understand both those things in a light that is reconcilable?
Just kind of one life. Maybe when it says one life, meaning sort of like as this person. As this person, it is one life, and that is just next life your identity change. And past life, your identity is different. So mainly kind of, I look at it as, being that person is just one time. And when you look at it, then being that person is just like you will never step on the same river again. Sort of like, you can use that kind of philosophy in that. But, like next life, it is not you, but it is a continuation of you. So that is what Buddhists believe in reincarnation. Like, for example, maybe my past life, one of my past life, I'm, animal, say like I'm dog, and that dog die and born as a human, after many life. But, it is that dog is one of my past life, but then if you ask me, am I dog? No, right? This person is not dog. So that dog is already dead, but it is an identity, like a change. So the essence just sort of remains, and that is the I will say that is how to bring the not to bring contradiction, maybe, it is like from a Western Judeo-Christian, it means that you lose that identity and you will never become that person again, And then from the East, maybe, your identity changed, but there is something that remain, something remain that keep going, which is, and recently just sort of we identify ourselves as this person and that person. So, mainly, where does this identity come from? And say like I am this, I am that. So mainly when we are saying that, maybe just kind of we are this, like I am Rinpoche. Why I'm Rinpoche? Because Dalai Lama told me that you are Rinpoche, right? That is my reason. And if you say yourself, like whatever your name is, who are you? I'm this. Why you are that person? Because my parents gave me that name, right? So, and if your parents, then it is kind of odd question, weird question. If your parent doesn't give you that name, then who are you? Then, I don't know, right? Maybe I'm that soul or, spirit or what, just kind of. But this person who has this name, die. And, that is one time, and that's it. And then, so that is kind of, I will say, I don't know how to bring that together, but that is how I look at it. Yeah. Yeah.
Is the essence that you speak of uniform for all, or do we attach and create that individuality? In other words, would your essence be the same as my essence, is the same as hers, everyone?
Very interesting thing. There are many philosophical view about being everybody as a one, your essence. And that's like from a Hindu point of view, we are the essence of Brahma, the God, And then, there are some, Buddhist philosophy also believing sort of like a universal consciousness. And then, there are many different kind of philosophy. And the thing is, I don't know what is, but what I believe, sort of like what I think about is maybe there is some essence that which we all belong to. And then there is individuality. And it is sort of like a, sky and the cloud. So like a ocean and the, waves. So there is a waves, then it creates some, individuality. And when you are that wave, you create that sort of like a identity. And then you say, this is me. And mainly, kind of when we have an identity, the individuality is just acting, actually. It is the pretension. We are sort of like a, we look at this whole universe as some sort of like a performing stage. And we are here to perform. And the minute we were born, our parents give us a name, or a priest give us a name, or, elder gives us a name, saying that you're going to be this person. And that moment is we create that identity and saying that, okay, and then everybody around you tells you, you are this. And then, and we kind of train to be acting that person. And we train so long that we start thinking that it is me. And that is kind of like what happened in the samsara, that, every time the life changes, life goes from next, maybe in past life, maybe, we are a dog or cat or, some animals or some other human beings, and we acted as that person. And then, just kind of we die and then change the identity. You're born in a different culture or different system, and then you're acting as that. And then that is like one metaphor of being as an actor. But then who is that actor? What is the real? What is there behind that mask of identity? Who is there? And then that is mainly kind of maybe we are all just sort of like connected. That's what the word I will use. They're like really connected, sort of, just kind of we are all related to something. So, and then in an ultimate level, then it is one. It is just one. And our mind just, grabs on that small thing and then create this whole identity things. And that is just kind of like a building of an idea of who we are. And sometime, like in this very lifetime, like some people, like, you go through a really strong brain injury, like you lose your all memory, and the next moment, and then your identity is gone, right? Your identity is gone. Who am I? Then, like, if you're born, if you find out in a different system, and they will give you another name, and where you don't, like, people don't know where you're from, and something like that, then you're going to be a totally different person. Totally different kind of person. So, yeah, that's just kind of being as an actor. Yeah. Yeah, ego is the act, just, I don't know if it is that one is the, behind the ego, behind that identity, there is an ego, and behind that ego, yeah, identity itself is ego. Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, identity itself is ego, and behind that there is somebody who is pure and compassionate. You have any question? Yeah. Yeah.
I was just going to ask you if you, what do you do to develop your third eye even more?
Mainly, there is a lot of talks about third eyes. In some Buddhist texts also there is some like that. But when we talk about the third eyes, and actually it is not a physical third eye. It is just a metaphor. And mainly kind of whenever they use the word third eye, meaning it is a wisdom. Wisdom is a third eye, and third eye is a wisdom. So, and it is not a physical eye, it is a mental eye. It means when you open the third eye, meaning sort of like just to open your mind, generate that wisdom, and then what happen is, it put here, they say third eye is here. What you're saying is when you look it from these two eyes, then more sort of like it is a metaphor, and you're looking from these two eyes, then it is a judgmental. So to open your third eye, you have to close these two eyes, so you can see it from this, just without, not good and bad, just look at one. That is the third eye.
Do you spend time, though, in meditation, concentrating on this area between your eyes?
Yeah, actually that's, it brings, in a meditation, just kind of to be grounded and to be here, right this moment, basically when you focus your mind here, and it is a good technique to, to be present. And I think, that will help also to open the eyes, open the third eyes. Yeah.
I have just a little comment on that. I was thinking, if your mind's the internet, you could probably order it from one of the websites.
Good idea. Okay.
Can you see masters and beings around you? Can you see masters?
You mean the energy?
Yes. Can you see, like behind me? Would you be able to see teachers, masters, guides?
Maybe I need a third eye to see that. that's, no, actually, I'm not, I don't see things, there, like some people has a capability to see, to see the spirit and to see some, different colors, different things, and it is just kind of people, individuals' capability, but, just personally, I myself, I don't have that capability, so maybe, I don't see, just like, mainly maybe I feel, sometime when you just come nearby person, so like that person has some, some sort of, like mainly just kind of feeling wise, just you feel sort of like it is some sort of like a deja vu sort of type, and that kind of feeling, but I don't hear things and I don't see things, so yeah, just kind of like just, so, it is not a totally delusion either, some people can see that, and when they have some energy, and I got a lot of comments from, people saying that, when I was giving a Lamrim teaching, some people see Lama Tsongkhapa behind me, like, and it is not totally, I don't say it as a delusion, like, and sometimes your mind, like when you create this sort of mind, and then your mind projected something there, and maybe you can see that with your, in your mind. So that is like some of my friend actually, there was this. I just remembered that story. There's one of my friend. He is a Rinpoche, and one time Dalai Lama was giving a teaching, and he kind of like he was sitting next to me. And he was doing this 1,000 arms charity, empowerment. And like I was sitting there, we are all just kind of meditating and, looking at Dalai Lama. And then I kind of, my friend was acting a little bit sort of weird, like, and I was looking at him and then just kind of in some point, he just totally like stunned, like, looking at Dalai Lama. Like, and then I said, what's going on, And then his vision, he changed, that like totally Dalai Lama's, he's wearing an eyeglass, so his eyeglass, fall, in his mind, in his, vision. That, and then slowly Dalai Lama transformed into Avalokiteshvara. So that's what he's seeing. And then like he's like totally stunned, and then he's saying, don't you see? And I said, no, I don't see. And I said, you're lucky that you're seeing it. So, and sometimes just kind of, it is a mythical, sometimes, like in some spiritual experience, people go through that. And I don't know, maybe in the Western psychology world, maybe they will say you're hallucinating, right? Like, sometimes people, what is that called? Schizophrenia? So, I don't know. But then there is a, really kind of schizophrenia. Like, I know one monk, like he has this kind of vision, and I think that is bothering him. So mainly I'm kind of like our interpretation of what is spiritual vision and what is schizophrenia and what is hallucination is mainly, there is a thin line between there to make that separation. Like mainly, like the spiritual vision is more sort of like when you have those vision, it is bringing more calm, peace, more kind of loving, and things that is just see that it brings sort of like a more kind of negative thoughts and things like that. Maybe that is schizophrenia or hallucination things, So it is kind of totally when you see things and it is making you more spiritual and more loving and more grounded, and I think that must be a spiritual vision. So that is just kind of when you asked me that question, it just came in my mind, the story. Okay, so with this, we conclude our talk tonight, and let us do the chanting of the Compassion Buddha. So the mantra is just very simple, Om Mani Padme Hum. So we recite the Om Mani Padme Hum, and Om is the starting of the mantra, and Mani means jewel. Jewel is considered to be love and compassion, and Padma means lotus, and Padma is lotus signifies the wisdom, and then Hum means union, saying that union of love and compassion with the wisdom. So just Compassion Buddha's mantra. So by just kind of thinking, just opening our mind, and it is not a worshipping thing. Just don't worry about this. It is not a worship. We don't have to worship anybody or anything. Just when you recite this mantra, just open your mind and just generate that sense of caring. Not if you cannot generate that sense of caring to other, just generate that sense of caring to yourself. So just generate sense of caring, and then just pray that same prayer, like, may I bring more happiness into my life and other people's life. And by thinking that, let us do the mantra recitation, okay? Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Okay, so with this we conclude, and I will be, as I think many of you know, going to India. A little bit excited about it. And as today we talk about 1,000 alms, and if you're interested in 1,000 alms charity, and while I am in India, I asked my friend Zachoje Rinpoche, and he visited here 2 times and shared his teaching with us before too, and he's going to give the 1,000 alms charity empowerment. Is that 2 days?
March 20th and 21st.
20 and 21st. and at the Emaho, and he's a wonderful teacher. So if you want to know, and then I don't have to say that again. But in April, we invited Venerable Thubten Chodron, and Ani Thubten Chodron, she wrote some really great books, opening the heart, right? Open heart, clear mind, and she's a great practitioner, and who understand the Western mind very well, because she herself being a Westerner, and she is a Tibetan Buddhist nun for many years, and she's coming here and doing a talk, right? Public talk.
Yeah, it's a public talk on April 10th in the evening on the topic of healing anger.
Healing anger.
And then the next
Thubten Chodron. No. Maybe spiritually relative. Chodron, like Chodron is not considered to be last name. It is just, yeah. And then we have Lama Palden coming in May 15, right? She's going to do teaching on Green Tara, and which will be interesting for Emaho. We always wanted to balance. We invite some female teacher in our community, in the Buddhist way. So just kind of, while I'm in India, so it is well taken care by,